Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of weeks ago, I made a video talking about how every single Battlefield game is connected via their stories, via some characters, and via many other reasons. If you didn't see that video, you should check it out. It'll be linked down in the description. And lo and behold, Battlefield 6 comes out, and guess what? It is also connected, and they laid it out in a pretty interesting way. And in fact, the game that it is solely connected to is Battlefield 3. And based off of that other video, you can see that Battlefield 3 is connected to all the other games in various different ways as well. But I thought I would put together a video. It'll probably be a shorter story video based off of how these two games are connected. And their stories are tied directly into each other very, very closely. And one in a way that they have yet to announce, but I am guessing is going to be a main part in, believe it or not, the Battle Royale. And that is what I'm going to explain to you today. So without further ado, let me show you how these two games are connected. And it all started in Cairo. Well, technically it actually started in Gibraltar. You see, when the entire crew finally sees Kincaid for the very first time, one thing is evidently clear. Has Carter, the leader of our group, clearly recognizes Kincaid. And at this point, we don't know why.
No fucking way. What are we looking at?
However, once we go into Cairo, and that is when Dylan Murphy asks Haz what is going on here.
Haz, about Kincaid. What's the deal? You looked like you'd seen a ghost.
You heard of Farouk al-Bashir? Henry Blackburn?
Yeah, there's a whole module on it at the academy.
Yeah, well, I was part of that operation. JSOC.
So this brings us back to Battlefield 3. You may have noticed that he mentioned someone by the name of Henry Blackburn. Well, if you played Battlefield 3, this is the main character of that game. The game starts out by Henry Blackburn being interrogated by the CIA about the events of something known as Operation Swordbreaker, which is the operation that Haz Carter mentions here. Now, there's a couple different parts to this. The part that you play in as Henry Blackburn is at the Iraq-Iran border. The part that Haz Carter was in the Iran-Syrian border. Now, in this war, you are going against a group known as the PLR that have a mysterious leader by the name of Solomon, someone who is trying to work alongside Farouk al-Bashir, that same person that Haz Carter mentioned. Now, what ends up going on with this is Solomon ends up being a crazy person, getting his hands on nukes, and that's what Henry Blackburn has to stop. However, what went down in Iran, Iraq, and Syria is all to do with the PLR. As far as what happened in Battlefield 3, eventually someone by the name of Private Miller is taken hostage, and they use him as a hostage negotiation and to create a hostage tape. This is truly when we get to see who Solomon is and who Farouk al-Bashir is.
Hello, Mr. Miller, is it? Americans and their souvenirs. Is this your child? Yeah, I can see the name. Johnny Miller. Hope he doesn't miss it too much. You know, children, they get attached to these little things. They can cry for days when they lose one. You know why? Because these small objects remind them they're loved. But loss is part of growing up, isn't it? Part of growing up is accepting the inevitability of death. The inevitability, Mr. Miller, of death. My father told me that. You will be a hero to your children too. I hope that gives you comfort. Brother.
Amadei, Bejam. Shame. You come to our country to murder us, yet we are the terrorists when we try to protect our nation and our people. This is the price you pay.
As far as Farouk al-Bashir goes, he ends up getting kind of turned on by Solomon as his extreme values are even further than what al-Bashir wanted to do. But later on, we end up going to extract with al-Bashir. However, he dies in trying to do so.
Listen! The 14th of this month, when the sun is set, Suleiman will strike. Burn in hell. All of you.
Come on, hang in there, come on!
So he kind of ends up giving up Solomon's plans, and then Henry Blackburn needs to essentially stop them. This brings us back to Battlefield 6.
Border of Iran and Syria. Clear.
The JSOC mission. What went down?
There was an SAS and Delta joint op, gathering intel on Iranian chemical weapons. Except there was a comm snafu. We got cornered by an IRG battalion and shit went down like you wouldn't believe.
Losses?
Too many.
So they say that this was a JSOC mission. In other words, it wasn't quite the same as what we saw in Battlefield 3. It was between Delta Force and the SAS. And basically, shit hit the fan, and all of a sudden, they were surrounded, got separated, and Alexander Kincaid, one of the leaders of the SAS forces, refused to leave his men behind. So he went in to go rescue them.
US blamed the UK and vice versa. It was a whole diplomatic clusterfuck.
In Kincaid?
Troop commander of the SAS unit. Dependable. The kind of guy you'd want by your side. He'd seen it all. Iraq, Afghanistan, Bosnia, Northern Ireland.
But?
Listen. Kincaid went back for his troops and he didn't return. I made the call.
And when he says he made the call, what he is referring to there is making the call to pull the rest of the troops out of the area, saving them, but leaving Kincaid for dead, or at least what he thought was for dead until he saw him in Gibraltar.
No fucking way.
So during Operation Swordbreaker, as a member of the SAS, Kincaid gets taken captive, POW, and later on we get to find out what happened to Kincaid when he gets his revenge for being left behind.
Must be a relief, huh? The brass showering you with honor and valor, while deep down, you know this is what you really deserve. Those fuckers laughed when they threw acid over me. You know what it's like to smell your own face being eaten away. The man you left behind goes on. That's justice.
Burn, Brooklyn. For justice.
For a future. Because there's only one way to matter in this world, and that's not to serve. It's to make yourself too big to ignore. Be forgotten.
I say again, additional gunshots heard. Spread out.
Commander Kincaid, we've got exfil standing by.
So Kincaid, quite literally burned by acid, gets his revenge on who he thinks caused him this pain. But by the very end of the campaign, what we end up finding out is that Kincaid was actually put in place by the CIA. Pax Armada was created by the CIA. And in turn, from what happened to him, he became an extremist and was willing to fight against all the countries just to create chaos.
Ask her why she wants me dead so bad. You're here to clean up her loose ends.
Trying to get in your head. Same as Carter.
I'm her recruit. All this time, Pax had the backing of the CIA, you dumb fuck. Mills!
What the fuck are you talking about?
It was all her doing, along with her cronies. They needed a big bad.
He's lying.
They fucking got one.
Georgia, Brooklyn, Carter. It's because of him. Dylan, we are doing our patriotic duty. This is how we stop this. This cannot happen again. It dies with him.
Our job is
to follow orders. I'm ordering you, Marine, to finish the mission.
She'll bin you, just like me. You signed up to be a soldier, not a CIA hatchet man. Don't let patriotism get in the way of logic.
Dylan.
Secure him.
long have you had an assassin on your team?
Hemlock?
Come on, you're all too smart to be dancing to her tune!
What's wrong with you?
Just don't gaze down. He was reaching.
And here's what's interesting, is even after Kincaid is taken out and after the truth comes out that it was a CIA project, Pax Armada still remains. Because as far as the trailer yesterday that we got for Season 1, it appears as though Pax Armada is still on their tirade and they are invading places like Eastwood in California, and then the Blackwell Fields as well, where we get to see kind of a new look to what some new Pax Armada soldiers is looking like. So the question is, who is in charge of them? So someone is still funding them. The question is who? Well, as it turns out, if we use the codex and information to Battlefield 2042, which is connected, by the way, because it's connected to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, it turns out that Henry Blackburn, the same person that has Carter brought up, is actually the owner and CEO of the world's largest PMC in the 2020s, aka Pax Armada, or at least that is what it is leaning to look like. And I have a feeling the story of the new Battle Royale and the post-seasonal story for Battlefield 6 is going to tell exactly that. I could be wrong, it's just a prediction, but I think that is what the story is leading up to. And that is how basically all the Battlefield games are connected. So if you enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe to stay up to date on all your favorite video game story, and until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but